And I would imagine a lot of people jump into a vocation hoping that that's going to be the fulfillment. Well, okay, well, I can't look at the porn or I can't sleep with my girlfriend. Like, I'll get married, I'll become a priest, and that's going to be able to deal with a lot of these issues of not being wanted, not being desired. And they see a vocation as some type of remedy rather than a calling. So, how important could you even overestimate the importance of taking care of your mental health prior to marriage? That is one of the most important steps of marriage prep, is your own mental health.
100%. This is what I was talking about, like embracing that singlehood and like allowing that to be a time to develop intimacy with God and knowledge of self. St. Augustine's prayer, those two things are the most important, to know God and to know ourselves. And I teach, our model from Catholic Psych and the framework that we use is this model of the school of love from the family. And even going back to what we were talking about before, mom and dad together form this educative foundation. And the way dad relates to son forms the son in how to be a man. The way that dad relates to daughter teaches a daughter how to be loved by a man. And the way that dad loves mom teaches the daughter what to expect in being a woman and what she's growing into, teaches son how to love a woman, and then vice versa. The woman loving dad teaches daughter how to love men and and teaches son how to expect to be loved by women. So if any of those crosses, those interacting relationships and dynamics are flawed, you could be mom's favorite, but you are taking the place of mom always begrudging and talking down to dad. It's not going to matter. You're getting a flawed education. You're being miseducated. We have to work through that stuff before we're free to really make ourselves a fruitful gift. And it doesn't always happen perfectly. It hardly ever happens perfectly. People work it out in the context of marriage, but that's when it's really messy. And that's why marriage can be very painful and difficult. And by God's design, that's how we work out our salvation and grow in perfection, by sticking it out, by remaining faithful to the vows, by believing that is a bigger thing than our own desires, so that when it gets grueling and we want out, we stick it out anyways, and then we actually embrace our own conversions and transformations. But it doesn't have to be that messy on this psycho-spiritual, psycho-emotional level if we do a lot of that heavy lifting before we even enter into that relationship. So I recommend that 1,000% over and over and over again for people in their single life. Embrace this, like go after it, like spend a month, 2 months. In fact, I've revamped our entire program. In fact, we're doing a live town hall tomorrow night that we're going to announce this whole new program. Like, I want to give people abilities to say, like, I just want to work on myself for the next month, for the next 2 months. Like, I'm in a space of time where, like, I'm all in, and we are going all in with people, working with people every day, not just like this once a week thing, but like totally revamping what mentorship and accompaniment is supposed to look like from a position of Catholic psychology and Catholic faith, and what it means to really mentor somebody. And it's like, if you're single and you're like not even dating, or if you're engaged and now you're like, okay, it's about to get serious, embrace this time. Like, now, don't wait for everything to hit the fan and for be some emergency to fix. Get it in now and really dredge up where this miseducation has misled you and fix the thing so you can be that gift of self to your spouse.
Now, for the people who are listening, I can imagine there's women listening, and maybe she's 23, 24 years old, grew up in just like a toxic, dysfunctional family where maybe the dad was alcoholic, the mom was just incessantly bickering and cutting down the father. And like, now she's out on her own, living a successful professional life, wants to get married, but just knows she has like no concept of how to love rightly, no concept of how to honor a man who doesn't even honor himself. And she's thinking like, I want something, but I don't know how to get there. And for those watching on Facebook Live, they can tune in tomorrow night to the town hall. For those who hear this on the podcast, when it gets released a week from now, can they go back and watch that? How can they plug in to learn, like, okay, I want to fill in those gaps of 18 years of spousal love that I was supposed to witness, that I never had a ticket to that show because my parents entered marriage broken themselves and never got the pieces put together. Where do people go who might be watching this later go to start that process of, undoing those knots?
Yeah, so our website is catholicpsych.com, and catholicpsych.com/town hall. I think they're going to put up like the replay video afterwards. So like whatever, it's live tomorrow night, and we'll have Q&A and stuff like that. So it's definitely worth showing up live. But then afterwards, we're going to keep it up there so that people can still get in there and learn about this program. Here's the beautiful thing about it. We're built for this. This is like the sort of secret sauce. It's like when you have the blueprint and we know that we're built for this, there's so much hope. You know, we have a lot of people struggling to sort of like redirect and guide. It's like shooting in the dark without knowing like exactly how to do this. But I've witnessed miracles over and over again by collaborating with God's grace, by being open, especially in marriage when there's a sacrament, like working with couples with the sacrament actually present on the couch in between the people. Like miracles happen every day and in our work. And it's beautiful to watch. It's like, how is this working so well? Oh yeah, this is what we're made for. Wait, oh yeah, that's what Christ promised us. Like this shouldn't be a surprise. But we do have to know how to connect these dots. And so for that girl, you know, I tell people all the time, we're all broken, by the way, by miseducation from our parents. And I make this point very clear. This is not about beating up on anybody. And in fact, I then point the finger directly at myself. And I make it very clear. Every night I pray to St. Joseph, please make up for my mistakes I made today. I miseducated my children today. Please make up for that. And the way that I treated my wife, the way that I treat my kids, like any little bit of impatience, lack of charity, lack of concern, whatever it is, we're made for perfection. That's the model and image that we're built out of and what we're made for. So we're constantly off track. But because we're made for that, and because we have baptism through Jesus Christ, through that sacramental grace, we all have access to the heart of Christ, and we are being transformed. We all have access to the heart of the family, the holy family, the perfect school of love. So we are literally healed psychologically through our baptism by Mary's motherhood. It's not just a spiritual reality because Jesus is not just a spirit. We are united to Christ in his fullness. Our humanity is healed in his humanity, which was raised by a mom and a dad, so we can be re-raised by a mom and a dad. And this happens like that. If we actually know how to connect the dots. It's mind-blowing how this works. So that young girl, broken family, toxic, whatever, there's so much hope because you're actually made for more than that. Mom and dad were temporary teachers. And just like if you go to a college that teaches you lies about the world, you graduate, you move on, you learn the truth. You don't have to be burdened and determined by whatever your parents or whatever that school miseducated you on. You learn the truth. You're an adult now. You can put these things together and you can lead a different life based on faith and learning what's really true. And all of a sudden, your heart and your mind and your whole person flourishes.